Hey friends, welcome to another Monday night class. So glad to see all of your smiling faces this week. And I am really excited to share with you a lot of very practical, doable, life-saving tips that come from a wealth of resources here tonight. You are going to want to have a notebook in hand. I will just tell you that right now, because we're going to be not maybe fire hosing, but dump trucking you. I think that's a fair term for tonight. We have a lot in store. So my name is Skyla Mann, and I have been a Young Living fan and a Young Living business builder for many years now. We were introduced to Young Living about 13 years ago, and it has truly impacted every area of our life. Being intentional about proactive behaviors is probably one of the biggest things that has changed for me. I never knew prior to Young Living all of the options that we had available at our fingertips to take care of ourselves before the sickness comes on, or before something happens where we have to run for help. I feel like I have such a broader toolbox now that I have been introduced to Young Living, because this community has led me to so many other wellness-minded people that also have lots and lots of tricks up their sleeve. And I say that in the most reputable way possible. All of the integrity, not bad tricks, good tricks, but all of the things that we can do to help nourish and fortify and protect our bodies. That's what we're here for. So I am really glad to be able to share tonight with Cheri Bennett and Tricia Koerselman, and I'm going to let them each introduce themselves when they share. But we're here tonight to talk specifically about what we can do to support and protect and strengthen our lymphatic system. This system is integral with our immune system, and we have to keep them both humming together. So I am going to turn it over to Cheri, and she's going to open things up tonight. Tricia and I will come back later and visit with you, but Cheri, take it away.
Thanks, Skyla. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if I can do that. I think I can. Let's see what happens. Tell me, you see my screen?
Looks great.
Great. So I'm going to make a presentation. All right, and then hopefully I can get back. And now I see you all in the corner, but do you just see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So I want to say, up front, I've gotten the knowledge that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today from these 3 books. So I'm not a doctor. In fact, when I was in high school, I had an anatomy class, and I knew I wasn't going to go into medicine at the time. So I dropped out and helped the librarian, stamp books instead. So that's my big disclaimer there. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to keep things at a very high level so that it's easy to understand, because at the end, we're not trying to make ourselves into doctors. We're going to work with our doctors to help us, but just to have an understanding of what's going on is really important. So what Skyla said, the lymphatic system is essential to immunity. And so this is a cutout from that body book that I got. And this is kind of a trick. I found that book at Costco. Sometimes they have these really complicated topics, but in a very simple way, and it makes it easy to understand. So the lymphatic system goes by a lot of different names. You could hear parts of it referred to as the vascular system, or the circulatory system, or the lymph system, but it's made up of vessels that carry blood and lymph throughout the body. And your tonsils are part of it, your adenoids are part of it, your lymph nodes are part of it. We're going to be talking a lot about the lymph and the lymph nodes in what we're talking about here. So here's the lymphatic system, and it's basically a network of pipes that drain waste from your cells and your muscles. So it's kind of like the sewer system of your body. It protects your body against infection, and it keeps the amount of fluid you have in your body stable. So it gives a drainage back to your blood system through, if you can see the top there, that gray portion, that's where your lymph fluid goes back into your blood system. And there's lymph vessels throughout your body. There's lots of different charts. I think my next chart will talk about it a little bit more, but don't be afraid of these charts. I'm keeping it at a very high level, and I think there's two more. So this is the lymph vessel close up. And what's really amazing about it is I put it in that direction on purpose. The way the arrow goes is the way the lymph fluid goes in your system. So this is the lymphatic vein, and that is filled with fluid. And in your whole body, there's about a half gallon of lymph fluid circulating through these veins or through your organs. You know, I think of my half gallon of milk. I mean, that's pretty amazing when you think of that. So the other part along with that is there's no pump in the lymph system. And if you notice, I mean, if that was going in the other direction, you know, things would just flow real easily. But what has to happen is it has to go up through that system, and then you can see on the sides it's kind of contained, and then it has to go up again. And we'll talk more about how that lymph moves through your body and how you can help make it move, because it's not like your heart where it just works by itself. There's some things that we've got to do, and some things are just normally built into our lives. So that vein was part of it. And then the other part is the lymph node. So there's about 500 to 600 lymph nodes throughout your whole body. And they're usually about 1 to 2 centimeters. Sometimes people are real familiar with the ones in their neck. And as the lymph fluid passes through those nodes, it slows down, and the white blood cells in those lymph nodes go to work to help your body. So if you see in the picture, see those little funnel sections going in and out of that lymph node, that's how, you know, the veins go through there, and that distributes your lymph. So, all right, so I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm just going to talk to you. Okay, so can you see me now? Did I do that? Okay, perfect. All right. So that was kind of the body system from Costco, just like the overview to give you an idea of what's going on. And now I'm going to talk to you about a couple of pages that I pulled out of this essential oil integrative guide. And this was just fantastic. I don't know if any of you have this book, but on page 415, they talk about the lymphatic system, and that it's aiding in stimulating and detoxifying the lymphatic system. So there's certain oils that they suggest singly for that. Ledum, am I saying that right? Ledum. And then sandalwood, heliochrysum, myrtle, grapefruit, lemongrass, cypress, and tangerine. And then there was a couple blends that they've talked about. And one blend is the antimicrobial blend, and we'll tell you how to use this, so don't worry, and we can always go back. But the antimicrobial blend helps to protect the body against illnesses. So it has rosemary, lemongrass, thyme, and cinnamon bark in the antimicrobial blend. Now, the other blend that they recommend, and that was on page 174 of that same book, is the circulation blend. And this blend may support cardiovascular, lymphatic, and circulatory systems. So, you know, those two, the lymphatic and circulatory, that's what we're talking about here, because not only do we want to cut down on the toxins and stuff that are in there to help our lymph, fight infections, but we want to help circulate it around so it impacts our whole body. So the oils that they suggest in that are goldenrod, cypress, marjoram, and lang lang. And as I was looking at all these different things, I thought, wow, how amazingly our body and these oils are, because there's such a wide variety of oils that you can use. So the third thing, so you can always check, okay, what do I have? What do I have? Because the main thing is to use what you have as quickly as possible and get it on your body so it can help you. So the third blend they talked about was the energy blend. And that's on page 180 in that book. And the oils in this blend were used for increasing vitality and circulation. And that blend is made up of rosemary, balsam fir, juniper, nutmeg, pepper, and blue tansy. So now, after I told you the oils, I'm going to tell you how to use them. So what they suggest for a topical application is you can use one of those blends that I just told you, or you can pick a couple blends from those single blends. And I think perhaps Skyla and Tricia will be talking later of some blends too. But pick a couple blends from, if for instance, I noticed some of my lymph nodes one was feeling swollen. And so I looked at the single blends, I looked at what I had, I picked out 3 oils and I made this together. So it says dilute 50-50 and massage 2 to 4 drops on sore lymph glands and underarms. It suggests that you do a raindrop technique with those oils, and I'm not going to get into that. I did take the raindrop intensive, which was awesome, but I'm not going to get into that. And then this is an important part. I didn't do this part and it still worked, but it said to use a warm compress over the affected area 1 to 2 times a day. And it's interesting that makes sense. And I'll talk about it from a different perspective. I had something going on with my eye, and I went to see my eye doctor. She gave me some drops and she said to do a compress, but I was, doing what she said, and I kind of forgot the compress, and it looked a lot better, but not 100% better. And I went back to see her, and Boomer wanted to talk to you too. So I went back to see her, and she said, are you doing the compress? That's the most important part. And I think sometimes we forget about that. So here's one compress that I have. I got this from Brooder. There's like silver ions in there, and it brings the moisture in from the air, and it keeps it antibacterial. So this is really amazing. You can just microwave it. And this is a large one that you can put on your sinuses. They have all different sizes. Or you could just use, a washcloth and get that with warm water and put that compress on. So when you put the oils on your body, oils and water don't mix. And if you're doing a compress too, that's going to drive the oils in faster. And it's going to help the lymph nodes to get things moving. So now I'm looking in the back to see if there's any other goodies I have to show you before I turn this over. This was my little roller blend that I made up of my oils. At the time, I had grapefruit and cypress. Cypress is very good for circulation, so I used that. And I can't remember lemon. Lemon was also picked. Oh, and I've got one other thing to tell you about the Thieves book. So I used those. It was kind of spicy, but my lymph node is significantly down. In fact, it's kind of back to normal. So that was that. And then I just have a couple things from this book. Now, I don't know if you've read this. This is fantastic. I just got this All Thieves book from the Oily app. Super easy to read and very fun. And they kind of start out talking about 12,000 AD when the Black Plague was going on. And they said back in those times from 12,000 AD to 17,000 AD, 50% of the people died from bubonic plague or plague-related illnesses. And the plague at that time attacked a victim's lymph nodes. So I thought, wow, how interesting. So when I was reading through, of course, this is talking about thieves, because this is all things thieves. And thieves has clove and cinnamon, rosemary and lemon. Lemon is one of the ones we talked about, and then the eucalyptus radiata. So clove is the #1 immune support essential oil. So if you're using something with clove, that's getting down all the different things that are going on. It helps your lymph system to do the job because it doesn't have to put as many things through that sewer system. And then how they said it, I'll just read a couple lines here. He said, so you've got this good stuff, you know, think of the essential oils that you're putting into your body. And, you know, the clove, the cinnamon, the rosemary, the eucalyptus. Lemon helps with the transportation of everything. It helps with the circulation. So your circulation system and your lymph system, they work together to combat, you know, the bad things that are going on. So you've got lymph nodes scattered throughout your body, and your lymph system works with these nodes and your blood system to remove these toxins and to help your health to flourish. So those were my couple of books, hopefully quickly as possible. And now I'll turn it over to you, Tricia. And you can talk about some fun stuff.
All right. Well, thank you, Cheri. Okay, so my name is Tricia. I've been in Young Living for a little over 4 years. And the reason that I kind of got interested in the whole lymphatic system was probably about 1.5 years ago. And that was about the second time, or the time that I had my second mammogram, and also my second lumpectomy. And the first mammogram and lumpectomy happened about 8 years before that. And I was like, okay, how come every time I get a mammogram, I end up with a lumpectomy? And then both of them were fine. There was nothing to, you know, no concerning or anything like that. So I thought, okay, I don't like going through that stress. Let's try something different. So I went to my appointment at the new provider I was seeing, and I had this pamphlet was there, and it was just a breast health pamphlet, but it was on thermography. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about thermography or have had heard about it, but basically what it is a non-invasive, it's like a thermogram that it takes a heat picture of your body, breasts, everything like that. So the reason I really like thermography was because it's like I said, the hands-free, and then it's digital infrared thermal image. Everyone has their own heat patterns in their body and their breasts, just like a thermal pattern or a thermal signature. What they do like to do is do like a baseline thermogram, and then after that they do, like 3 months after that, they'll do like a follow-up just to kind of see if there's any, you know, differences or what your heat pattern is or anything like that. So I actually chose to do the full body thermography the first time. So just to kind of get a baseline of everything. And I mean, you find out a lot of things. They find your arthritis, they find all your teeth issues, they can find out a lot of things there. But so I mean, it was quite interesting to me, and it's not, I mean, you don't have to have anything squished, you don't have to do anything like that, which that part is enjoying. But so then 3 months later, I ended up just doing just a breast exam or a breast thermography, basically, just to kind of see the two differences and stuff like that. And what ended up coming back was that I had some lymph congestion, like under my arms and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I started to get these different ideas of, okay, I need to be doing something different. And I don't know if I didn't listen in high school or what, but I didn't really know a lot about any of the lymphatic system. So I had to learn a little bit. But what's really nice is after you do your thermography, they will email you all of your scans. And I mean, like, you get them in color form. So I don't know if you can see these, but I mean, you get the whole email is all of your color form, your whole report, everything like that. And you can share that with your provider if you want. And I mean, you can still do mammograms if you want to, but the one reason I really liked the thermography was because it didn't have any of the radiation, the no contact, and it wasn't uncomfortable squeezing or pain. It was basically painless. And it is FDA registered, so I could use my health savings account to pay for it. So that was kind of nice too. And like Skyla said that, I don't know, did you want to run one of those videos and see? Okay, this isn't really so much about thermography, but this was the one video, or she sent me 2 videos, how to basically help drain your lymph. So.
Perfect. I will do a quick screen share.
It's going, it takes a little bit.
Okay. I was waiting for that music. There we go.
There you go.
Dance break. It's good to move. That makes your lymph system move. Come on.
The word lymph means personal hand lymphatic undulation flow facilitation, aka moving lymph through the breast. Very simple.
What is lymph? The lymphatic system is a crucial player in your body's ability to ward off disease. Lymph fluid has its own circulatory system. Surprisingly, you have twice as much lymph in your body as blood. But unlike blood, lymph doesn't have its own pump. It relies on muscle contraction and manual manipulation for its movement. The lymph fluid's job is to bathe each cell in needed nutrients and oxygen. Just as importantly, it collects harmful waste materials from the body for disposal and removal.
I had a lumpy breast. I was diagnosed with fibrocystic breast disease. And I just spontaneously started to move the lymph around, and I was able to dissolve those lumps. And I also noticed that I felt better. So I didn't do anything with it. It was just part of my life. And as my practice continued, I would hear women say, oh, I've got lumpy breast, I have pain, this, that. And I said, well, why don't you just fluff the girls? And this is how it came about.
Do this twice a day for 1 to 2 minutes. Without wearing a bra, lean forward so your breasts hang from the rib cage. Cup breasts and move gently up and down. Fast or slow doesn't matter. This moves the lymph all around the breasts. Now place your hands on the sides and move towards the middle. This is where some of the important lymph nodes exist. Placing hands on the middle of the breast, gently push inwards. Now let's get some of the lymph moving from under the arms where the important lymph nodes reside. Always brush towards the heart.
Are you ready to fluff your girls? Okay, so lean over, underneath. Let's go. Pull up those bra straps. I hope you will do a few things. First of all, that you will do this twice a day. And don't forget, when you take your bra off at night, find a door jamb that you can rub your back on to move, get the lymph moving, because lymph goes around. And don't forget that 80% of the lymph goes right where your bra hits. So you want to lift that bra off. And even if you're at your desk or you go into the ladies' room, pick up the bra I could take a sawtooth this way. You want to do that? I also recommend that you go at least every 5 years and have your bra fitted because your breasts change every 5 to 7 years. So most women are wearing the wrong size bra. And that is really what can keep congestion in your breast. Fluff girls are happy girls. My fluffy students have emailed me, called me, and sent me letters as to how this has changed their life and how much more comfortable their life is since they've been doing this very simple little technique. But it's also a good way to get to know what your breasts feel like. It's the beginning of making friends with your body. I've written a book. It's called The Happy Breast Book. And this is the girl's guide to how to take care of your breast. They're not just appendages that hang off your body. They're a very important body organ.
So that was informational, right?
Excellent.
So yeah, it was quite interesting. And then we can add the other link and you guys can look at it later if you want. But it's interesting because it was like, to me, it was like, okay, so I need to start, you know, doing stuff like this. So it, you know, keeps the girls happy. So okay, so that's kind of, I don't know if anybody had any questions on thermography or anything, but I'm glad that you guys can do that with her too, yeah. Okay, then the Life Steps app. I don't know if you've ever downloaded the Life Steps app yet. Skyla has actually posted it on the Healthwise Heroes page before. And if you go to your, I don't know if you can see that, what it looks like, but that's kind of what it looks like if you want to download that. But if you go into that app, you can, and it's a free app too, by the way, which is always a nice thing. But you can go into the table of contents or whatever and look for the wellness assessment. And what I really liked, apparently I have lymphatic issues, okay, but every time when I did my wellness assessment, it came up that I needed the lymphatic system wellness box. So I was like, okay, you know, and most of what's great is that it tells you exactly what Young Living products you can use, and then it tells you how to use them, which is great because I feel like sometimes they say what to use and then you're just like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So one of the things that I grabbed, and like Cheri was talking about different blends and stuff like that, it's the Cell Light Magic Massage Oil. And mine was actually, it told me to use this and then just kind of put some on your arms and rub it underneath of your armpits where your lymph nodes are there. So I've actually been doing that, and I'm sure you could, the other video is actually like how to do a breast massage, which you could probably use this for that as well. So I just found that really interesting and helpful that you can, you know, it's the blends that Cheri talked about, those are great. And I actually think that one of them is very close to what this is too. And I don't remember which one it is, but that was very cool too, I thought. So the other thing that helps kind of get your lymph moving is brisk walking. Brisk walking kind of starts, it's like kind of like a natural pump, which kind of gets your lymphatic system moving and gets everything moving and stuff like that. And that also helps to reduce the lymphedema, which is like the swelling that you can have around your legs or your ankles. Sometimes that even happens like in your hands. And sometimes, you know, if you get your rings are tighter or something like that, then I think, okay, I gotta, you know, start moving around or doing something or drink more water or all that kind of stuff just to kind of flush everything out. So that's another good, it's not really a hard exercise to do. So that's always good to do that. Then another thing, when you are either like traveling or if you're maybe not going to be up and around a lot during the day or something like that, compression socks are a good thing to use. So you can buy these pretty much over the counter anywhere. They have different compressions. Usually they have like a lower compression, like an 8 to 15, or like a 10 or a 15 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Once you get in that really high compression, it's probably something like a vein doctor told you to wear or something like that. But I actually have some that when we went flying on vacation, then I actually wore these. Even though we were going to a place where it was warm, I still wore them underneath my pants because, you know, it kind of helps. And yeah, anyway. So anyway, these are really stretchy socks, basically, is what they are. And you can get like knee highs like this, or you can get like thigh highs or pantyhose or everything, but I didn't go that crazy. Just knee highs work good for me. So anytime that you are going to be traveling or your legs are going to be dangling and you're not going to be moving around much, these are another good thing to kind of help your swelling down. And the easiest or the probably the best thing to know about compression socks, the easiest time to put those on are in the morning because you're not as swollen, you have not been upright and stuff like that. So and if you've never worn compression socks, it's honestly not a bad, I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm not that young. So, but I tell you what, it does it's kind of a little, like a little hug for your legs. So it kind of feels nice sometimes. So, but that's about all that I have. So I guess, Skyla.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I had my first experience with compression socks the year that I flew to Australia, and that was one of the highly recommended things for being on the flight for 15 hours or whatever it is. And I do think that they made a difference. I don't have the effect of not flying with them because I didn't really want to gamble, but I felt good when I got there. So that's a good thing.
Yep.
So many amazing suggestions already, you guys. And Tricia, thank you for sharing that video because that was super, super helpful. And I feel like when you can get visuals of things and Cheri, the pictures that you shared, especially of the actual lymph gland, where we can see the way that the little flappers are in there backwards. It is so helpful to have that visual in your head because then some of the tips that we share are going to make way, way, way more sense. You won't just think we're crazy, okay? So one of the first things, my story is a little bit similar to Tricia's in that I had not delved into this lymphatic support at all until about 2 years ago when I went and had my first thermography scan done. And fortunately, I had avoided any prior stuff. So I just went in wanting to be proactive and wasn't expecting anything because I was feeling good. But the gal that I went to here in Urbandale, she said, well, your breasts look good, but you have a lot of lymphatic congestion. And so I just took that to mean, okay, congestion doesn't scare me. That's something that I have the power to do something about. And so we talked a lot about what my options were. And oh my gosh, Holly Finders here, that is who owns Mann Thermography. She is such a wealth of information, as many, I'm sure Tricia would say the exact same thing about her provider. But she had a long list of things that I could try. And she suggested, first off, to get a hold of a massage therapist who understands and knows what lymphatic massage is. Now, up until this point, my friends, I had had lots of massages in my life. I had had raindrops, I had had, deep tissue, I had had all kinds of things. I had never had a lymphatic massage. And what you need to know before you go for your lymphatic massage is that it's not like all the others, okay? Here's farm girl Skyla understood that something was different when the woman said, what I'm going to do is milk your lymph nodes. And I went, say what? and this is why this massage is so different, because I mean, she basically took a hold of me and she just started squeezing for dear life. And everything, just like in the video, everything was up towards the heart. So, I mean, she's just squeezing. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, some of those areas haven't been squeezed quite that firmly in a long time. And I walked out of there feeling like, am I going to be bruised tomorrow? But I was not. But rest assured, now I know what it feels like to actually hit those areas. It's not just like a rub. I mean, you want to move that stuff. And if you're congested, you need to do that fairly frequently. So find yourself a good massage therapist that understands lymphatic massage. That would be my tip number 1. Okay. Tip number 2. And by the way, they're just going to get progressively weirder as I go. So brace yourself. Okay. Tip number 2 is this fun little tool. Okay. So get excited, because this is about to become your new best friend. Oh, look at that. Cheri has one too. All right. This was a new one for me. This is called a dry brush. And they have them all over the place on Amazon and in health stores and that sort of thing. And oh my gosh, I just remembered we forgot our plan, what we were going to do tonight, you guys. Listen, here I have a dry brush set. Some of you don't even know this. Some of you came not even expecting a gift, but I have this brand new, I've never even used it, dry brush set. Or maybe I'll give away this one and I'll keep this one. Just kidding. We're going to give this away to someone tonight. And I have lost complete control because now I don't know what we're going to do for the parameters. So Cheri and Tricia, you figure that out.
Yeah, that's okay. I think at the end, when you're done presenting, we'll open it up for a little bit and people can give us comments on what they're going to do, what they've learned.
I love it.
Comments of what they do, and then we'll do a quick raffle.
Perfect. I love it. April Haywood, if you would like this one that was used by me, we might be able to strike up a deal. Okay. I know how much that would mean to you. Okay, so listen, I'm gonna try to do a little demonstration here. I have 6 inches of room between my cabinet. Okay, so okay, I guess I didn't really need to get out of my chair. But here's the thing. Before you get in the shower, this is the ideal time to do this. What you do is you're going to put your foot on your toilet, okay? And you're going to start at your toes. Whoo, watch me fall over. And you're going to simply start and you're going to come up, up, up. And it feels so good. It tickles a little bit, but you'll start feeling this tingling sensation. When you get your legs all done, then you're going to start on your arms, okay? And you just start at the extremities and you come up and you're going to do the same thing here. And it's got a long handle so that you can reach your back, okay? And what you are doing is you are literally stimulating. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that demonstration. That alone will be worth watching this video again. Just kidding. But what you're doing is you're literally stimulating every vessel, every cell of your body, and you can feel this tingling sensation. I honestly feel like it's like my skin came alive in the very best way possible. You're waking it all up and you're brushing it all towards your heart. And then you get in the shower and it is just like, I don't know, it's the most refreshing, pulsating feeling. And it definitely works. And I have evidence of this because when I went for my first scan, lots of congestion, okay? Lots of dark red in that scan. And I went back, I started dry brushing and I started another oil blend, which I'm gonna give you in just a second. I made myself a little custom blend and I started applying that here and here, okay? All those places where the lymph nodes are. And I went back after 3 months and it was better. And so she said, okay, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I went back after another 3 months. And for me, it took a little while for me to reach my baseline because I did keep changing. I was changing for the better, but I never really leveled off. So I actually just had another, I think this was my, I don't know if it was my 4th or 5th one last week. And she finally congratulated me and said, okay, we've reached your baseline now. So I'm like, woohoo. So now I think I don't need to go back for another year and do another one. But so I did the lymphatic massage, I did the dry brushing, and I did the oil blend. And she said that combination, and I walk a lot too. I wasn't really walking for the purposes of that, but any movement is good movement. So let me tell you about this blend real quick. So I've got a couple of books here out. Some of you may recognize this one. So this is the Essential Oil Desk Reference, okay? I highly recommend that you grab one of these if you do not have one. If you don't have it, it's kind of like owning a car and not having a GPS or not having a map if you're gonna set off to go to the Grand Canyon. You might get there, but it might take you a long time. If you own oils, you might figure it out, but this will save you a lot of time and heartache, okay? So in this book, you can look up lymphatic system. And in there is the lymphatic system blend. It is very simple. It's made of 3 oils, and Cheri mentioned a couple. So we have cypress. That is the dream one for circulatory system. We have orange. And the third one is grapefruit. Okay. So the recipe in the desk reference calls for 3 drops of cypress, 2 drops of grapefruit, and 1 drop of orange. Now that ratio can be multiplied, okay? So 3, 2, 1 is if you are basically putting it in your hand and applying it to a particular area. Now you might want to put a little pump of that cell light magic that Tricia was talking about and dilute that just a little bit. Thank you. But what I did, because I didn't want to have to open 3 bottles of oil every single day, I got an empty roller bottle. This one happens to have glitter on it because it just does. And I still did the 3, 2, 1 ratio. So 3 drops of cypress, 2 drops of grapefruit, 1 drop of orange. That's our recipe. But what I did is I multiplied it all by 10. So I did 30 drops of cypress, 20 drops of grapefruit, 10 drops of orange, and then I filled the rest up with Cell Light Magic. Now I've got my mix ready to go. I have to take off 1 lid in the morning and apply that wherever I want to. And let me tell you something, you guys, if you're just getting started with oils, here is the true secret. The easier and more accessible you make your oils, the more likely you are to use them. If you have to run around the house and find 4 different bottles of oil or a brush and a bottle and a diffuser, whatever, anything that's more inconvenient, you're not going to do it. It's going to be too much work, right? But like, that's why Skyla could not do a skincare system that had 27 steps. That's not practical for me. It's got to be simple, right? 3 products, I'm out. That's all. So keep it easy, keep it simple, and just make yourself a blend that will work, and you can use it day and night, okay? Let's talk about one other technique that everybody can do, and that is jumping. So I want you to visualize that picture of the lymph, the actual gland again, okay? And just picture what happens. Cheri's gonna jump for us. What happens to those lymph nodes when you're jumping? That fluid is like, whoa, hang on, I'm flying out of here. I don't know where to go, okay? So you've all got feet, you've got leg muscles, and you've got a floor. You can jump. If you wanna take it one step further, do you remember, I don't know who still has them. I don't have one. I'm thinking about getting myself one for Christmas. But do you remember those rebounders that were like mini trampolines? My aunt had one and I was so jealous. I'm like, man, you are the luckiest woman on the planet. I don't even know if she ever used it, but I always did when I went to her house. So just a little trampoline, but jumping on one of those, oh, rebounder. Of course you do. Good job. Jumping on one of those is so good for you. Okay. Jumping rope would be good for you. Whatever you can do to move your body in that direction. Okay. Another thing that is really great is laying on the floor and putting your bottom right up next to the wall. Can you visualize this? If you can't, Cheri's gonna do it for us because she's a trooper. Good job. You put your legs up the wall and you just scoot your little bottom right up there. Oh, Cheri, you're awesome. Perfect. Okay. Do you know what that is doing? It's draining everything right out of the legs right back to the heart. It's so good. Okay. So awesome. And Nita just said in the comments, she does inversion positions to help move things in a different direction. Exactly. It's so helpful. Thank you, Cheri. Oh, there we go. What a cutie. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's see. I want to share just real quick out of this desk reference book again. I shared the 3 oils, cypress, grapefruit, and orange that go in that blend. But let me tell you some of the other single oils that are supportive of the lymphatic system include myrtle, grapefruit, of course, we talked about that, lemongrass, tangerine, orange, rosemary, cypress, hyssop, and myrrh. Okay, got some of our oils of ancient scripture in there. Love to see those being recommended. And then for oil blends, the top 4 for the lymphatic system that are blends include Digize, Aroma Life, Energy, and Citrus Fresh. Okay, and also we have supplements that do impact our lymph system. So ImmuPro, those chewable, delicious things that you can take before bed, they support your immune system and they have melatonin. They're fantastic when they're in stock. Those are really good. Super C and Super C chewables are both awesome. Longevity capsules are great when we can get them. Multi-greens, that is the one that comes over and over and over. And I'm gonna link to something else in another book. to kind of expand on that, but multigreens are awesome for our lymph system. Digest and cleanse, that's another one we've been without for a while. And of course, Life 9, our awesome probiotic. All right, so this is a new book that I started reading this week, and you guys, I am in love with it. Karen Smith turned me on to this. Thank you, Karen. It is by Anthony William. Some of you may know him. He's a pretty well-known author, but this is Life-Changing Foods. And I adore how this is laid out because they kind of go through and do a little biography on different life-saving foods. And they talk about the kind of the sciencey part of it. Then they talk about the conditions that food helps, the symptoms, emotional support that food offers, and a spiritual lesson. It's just so cool. So when I was reading the section on leafy greens, which is why multigreens is listed, it talks about how important they are for, let's see, well, let me just read this to you. If you worry about getting enough protein, fret no more. Leafy greens have the most bioavailable proteins that you can find, readily available for your body to take up. Leafy greens help reverse all protein-related diseases such as gout, kidney disease, kidney stones, gallstones, gallbladder disease, hepatitis C, lymphedema, connective tissue damage, osteopenia, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, and heart disease. Okay, so any of those conditions, and let me tell you, there's a whole lot more. I do not have time to read all of that to you, but go to your library, make them buy this for you. If you don't want to get it yourself, you know that libraries are run with our tax dollars, right? I have to throw that reminder in every now and then. We get to pick what the libraries own. So encourage them to buy all kinds of great resources for you and your friends. So leafy greens is one. The other one that is awesome for the lymphatic system is ginger. Okay. And let's see, I'm not sure where this was in the description here, but it's lymphedema was another one that was listed in the conditions along with, oh gosh, where'd it go? Yeah, along with things like insomnia, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, all types of cancer, Raynaud's syndrome, radiation exposure, chronic sinusitis, ear infections, fungal infections. The list goes on and on. So however you can incorporate ginger and leafy greens into your diet, that is only going to further bless your body, okay? Finally, the last kind of weird thing that I wanted, I told you we were going to scale this up here. So this is the climatic finish for me, is as weird as I can get. Did you ever think about your emotions being connected to your lymphatic system? I know you're like, Skyla, leave me alone. My emotions have nothing to do with my lymph nodes. That's not true. Our emotions are an integral part of every system in our body. So just out of curiosity, I looked it up this afternoon, and there are alarm points, meaning different parts of our body, and they are connected to an oil, which is connected to an emotion. So the alarm point for lymph is lemon. That further supports everything you heard from Cheri about moving it on out. Okay, you see how it's just all woven together. Okay, and this is what's so interesting, and I would love to know, you don't have to tell me, but seriously think about it. If this resonates, the emotion with lymph is being left behind. And I'm just thinking, holy crud, right now, don't we all kind of feel a little bit of that with life sort of just, I don't know what life is doing, but is it marching on or is it standing still? Or we're just in such a weird warp at the moment. Yeah. So lots of lemon, you guys. Lemon is emotionally uplifting. It's emotionally, like, it just brings happiness. Brian and Reagan and I are doing the master cleanse right now. And the only thing that we have out on our kitchen counter are like 4 dozen lemons. And it is the most beautiful sight because all we're drinking for 10 days is the master cleanse lemonade. And when I walk into the kitchen, I mean, it's refreshing to see clean counters and not have any dishes. I'll say that. But to see a gigantic bowl of lemons it's just so refreshing. And also you don't have to cook for 10 days. Winning. So keep that in mind. Okay. Lots and lots of lemons. The next thing is the alarm point of lymphatic congestion. The oil that resonates with that is RC. Okay. So that kind of makes sense because RC is for respiratory congestion. So why couldn't it be for congestion in other places, right? The emotion that is connected with that is depletion. So are you just wiped out? Like, this just makes so much sense to me when I think about how I feel when I am emotionally spent and I have nothing left to give. Those are generally not the times when I'm jumping. And when I'm dry brushing, I'm usually like hit the wall, right? It's so interesting. Okay, last one then is the lymph valves. Now this is what you saw in the picture that Cheri shared. I couldn't say that. That Cheri shared. And the oil for the lymph valves, I do not have a good reason for this, so somebody's going to have to help me. It's Dreamcatcher. Now, I did not look up what the individual ones in Dreamcatcher are. I'm sure that we can tie this together. But the emotion, this is wild, the emotion for the lymph valves is competitiveness. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting indeed. So this is a book by Mann. And she is so wise. And this whole exploration deeper into the emotions, it just gets so like, wow, that expanded my brain by a whole nother football field because I used to just think a cold was a simple cold. Well, sometimes maybe, or sometimes maybe there's something else going on. So, all right. So let's see. That is the culmination of what I have to share. So I just want to say thank you for coming. Those of you that are here live, stick around for just a moment. And we are excited to find out what you are going to be putting into practice. Next week, if you happen to be watching this, and it's November 16th, next week on November 23rd, we're going to be doing a cooking class with essential oils and other Young Living products right here, except I won't be right here. I will be in my kitchen. So this is going to be great. And I am looking for a few other cooks who would be willing to try out, where did I put it? To try out some new recipes, because I have this amazing little cookbook, which is not even available because I got this in Australia when I wore those compression socks. But there are some amazing recipes in here. And what I want to do is share some recipes with you, have you make them, give us a review next Monday, show it to us. So we'll all be cooking together on Monday. Show us what you made, give us your review, and then hopefully we'll have some new, wonderful, healthy recipes for Thanksgiving and the holiday season. So Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you next week.